Good evening to one and all. A warm welcome to 6th day of 10-day FDP International Workshop, 90th International Workshop on Philosophical Foundations of Research and Life Lessons from Michel de Montaigne, Golden Jubilee of NEHU, May 2022 to May 2023, a series of programs with the highest number, best of ability every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. jointly organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell IQAC, Northeastern Hill University, NEHU, Shillong, Meghalaya, and Indian Society for Training and Development ISTD, Shillong Chapter, Shillong, Meghalaya, in collaboration with the Department of Philosophy and IQAC, MORAN College, affiliated to the Dibrugarh University, MORANHAT, ASSAM, and Department of Philosophy, Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh. A warm welcome to today's keynote speaker, my guru, collaborator, Professor P. Chinnaya sir, Department of Philosophy, SVU, Tirupati. Professor Prabhasankar Sukla sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong. Professor S. Dikshit sir, Registrar and Director, IQAC, NEHU. Professor Raja Reddy sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sri Venkateswara University. Professor Mithali Kaur ma'am, Principal, Moran College. Dr. Srutasini Gogoi Madam, Workshop Coordinator, Head Department of Philosophy, NSS and IQAC Coordinator, Moran College. Professor B.S. Mipun Sir, Chairman, ISTD Shillong Chapter. A warm welcome to senior teachers, researchers, policymakers, administrators, students, all the participants. In series, this is sixth day of 10-day FDP International Workshop. Philosophical Foundations of Research, Applications of SPSS and Philosophical Foundations of Research. Today we are going to learn great life lessons from Michel de Montaigne, is a French philosopher, is basically from France, Kingdom of France during the 16th century. Professor Chennai sir going to elaborate many philosophical concepts, even though it's a philosophy, but literary related things also. He mentioned already, I read about his skepticistic approach and number of great things we can learn from Michel. Professor Chennai sir going to uncover the covered things and going to inform the untold things. Philosophical views are very important. Maybe if you read something or myself, we can understand differently, but Professor Chennai sir, because of more than 4 decades philosophical approach and yogic perspectives, sir can view differently. Along with our noble participants, myself also, I'm eagerly waiting to listen Professor Chennai sir. As usual, we start our program with Vande Mataram. Then I'm immediately going to request Professor Chennai sir to deliver keynote address.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujala Sufala, Malayaja Sheetala, Sasya Shyamala Mataram, Vande Mataram, Shubhrajyosna Pulakitayamini, Pullakusumita Drumadala Shobhini, Suhasini Sumadhura Bhashini, Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
Thank you. Requesting Professor Chennai sir to deliver keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Respectable coordinator Dr. Amaresh sir, with the organizer and collaborator for the international workshop and all the participants of the program. So here today I am going to share the great philosopher of the world who born in France in 1533, 28th February, died in 13th September 1592. So he's a wonderful philosopher. He said, our life is composed like the harmony of the world, of contrary things, also of different tones, sweet and harsh, sharp and flat, soft and sound. So he's telling, here in the world, we have a life. Here we have a two different type of things. Things harmony with the nature, things contrary with the people and things. So you find pleasant things, unpleasant things, happy things, unhappy things, all the things you find in the life. So here he's telling life itself is neither good nor bad. Life is where good or evil find a place, depending on how you make it for them. So here in the life, you have two aspects. One is a good, another is a bad. So you may live your life with a good sense, good words, good actions, good life, good things, very happy, pleasant, joyful, thrilled, all the things with a good manner. Or you may do your life, you may continue your life with a bad manner, talking evil things, doing evil activities, bad activities, murders, crimes, dacoits, evils, deceptions, lies, all types of negative things. So here, life itself is a neither good or not bad. Life is where good and evil have a place, but depending on how you make it for them. So it is your choice. If you go in the way of goodness in the life, you may enjoy life very beautifully. If you go with a bad line, you may go to very negative, harmful, destructive. So if you go with a road with the traffic rules, with a straight road, clean road, free from problems, you may reach your destiny. Or if you go with a negative, rough, thrown, disorder, dangerous route, you may go, you may face consequences. That's why he's telling. So there is a possibility of goodness and badness in our life. It is left to you. It is your choice. If you want to live a good manner, you may live. Or if you want to continue with a bad manner, there is a chance for you. You are responsible for your actions. You won't escape from your actions. So that's why be careful. The happiness of your life depends upon your actions. The unhappiness of your life depends upon your actions. That's why be careful. Do your activities with awareness and wisdom. Otherwise, you are responsible all your miseries of your life. So here, Michel de Montaigne is telling, rejoice in the things that are present. So all else is beyond time. So whatever you have to live your life with a pleasant manner. You have to concentrate on the present, now, here, this. So if you go at present to your past, or if you go to your future, you may not enjoy the present situation. That's why keep your all past memories in your mind with a disciplined manner. Whenever you need, you may think, you may imagine about the future, but at the present time, don't involve the past and the future. If you allow without any discipline at the present moment, relating with your dreams of the future and the unpleasant things of your past, so the present become due. It won't get any existence, you won't get any happiness. That's why enjoy the present life, don't involve. So if you free from past and the future, if you enjoy the present, if you see the present life without any memories, that state itself is a joyful one. So here, Michel Montaigne telling the truth of these days is not that which really is, but what every man pursued another man to believe. So here he may be more than 500 years ago he born. He said in the time. So he lived with the French kingdom in France. He experienced many problematic things, terrible things, unhappy things, fearful things. He's telling at present, people are not seeing things exactly what they are. If they see clearly what they are, they may see the truth. They may get freedom on the basis of their perception. But every man pursuing another man to believe. So here in the belief, you don't find any verification, you don't find any direct perception, you don't have any direct proof or authenticity of that particular thing. So he is telling the world people are going with the believing sense. They are not questioning, they are not observing, they are not pursuing, they are not seeing. That's why he's telling men are tormented by the opinions that they have things and not things themselves. So why human beings are suffering, getting unhappiness, unpleasant things, relating with the things. So here we are a human beings. We have a connection with the various types of objects in the world. You have a opinion on every object. So if you get any unpleasantness, sorrow from any object, that is nothing but your opinion on that. So if you have a total freedom on the objects, if you are not clinging to any objects in the world, you won't get any effect on the side of objects. So your sorrow is coming from the objects on the basis of your opinions on the objects. The happiness is coming from your objects on the basis of your opinions on the objects. That's why the opinion on our objects play a vital role in the life. So here is telling it takes a strong ears indeed to hear oneself judgingly, frankly. You have to listen very carefully about your life. You need a strong willpower to listen about yourself, your inner voice, the outside world. If you listen carefully, you may know about yourself. Men are not apt to believe what they least understand. So if you are not understanding anything, you may believe. If you have great understanding on anything, there is no question of any belief. He's telling the value of the life. The value of life lies not in the length of the days, but in the use we make of them. Whether we find satisfaction in life depends not on your tale of yours, but on your will. So how many years you have lived is not a issue. Your lifespan is not the issue. The days you have lived is not the great issue. In each day, each minute, each moment, how you have lived in this life is the most important thing. So if you have great satisfaction in the present life means you have lived with a guidance of your inner will. That inner will is called inner soul. If you have given harmonious action to your soul, automatically you may get. So here life, if you do very good things, automatically you may get harmonious relationship with your soul. Michel de Montaigne is telling the pleasantest things in the world are pleasant thoughts, and the great art of life is to have as many of them as possible. So he's telling the most happiest, pleasantest thing in the world is to have pleasant thoughts. The great art of life is to have as many of them as possible. So this thought is responsible for entire world. According to Michel de Montaigne, your thought is responsible for your life. The world war is nothing but the result of thought. The violence, the murder, the corruption, the unhappiness, the suicide, the killing, the deception, the lies are nothing but result of thought. So if you have good thoughts, then you may. So if you have bad thoughts, if you implement bad thoughts in the life, you may get more bad consequences. You may experience more misery in the life. So the pleasant thoughts, entire world is a one family. Live with a simplicity, live with a joyfulness, live with a happy mood. Share something, appreciate something, don't criticize anybody, give something. So if you have a good thoughts in our life, automatically you may get a good consequences on basis. So he is telling the greatest gift or greatest happiness or pleasantness of every human being in the life is having good thoughts, not having bad thoughts. If you are having many bad thoughts, you may live in the jail, you may live in the sorrow, you may live in the injuries, you may live in the diseases. So here, if you have a bad thoughts, bad intentions, automatically they may affect on your body, mind, health in the world. If you have a good thoughts, they affect on your health, body, mood, life, and anything. He's suggesting have many good thoughts of life for your happiness. So good thought is the greatest gift, that is the greatest experience and the pleasantest thing in our life. That's why search in the world which are the good thoughts, which are the good ideals, good thoughts, which are very useful, which are sufficient for great happiness. So experience and see, implement good thoughts in your life, then automatically you will live with a pleasant manner. So happiness involves working towards meaningful goals. So myself and Amareswar have decided to share the great teachings of great people of the world, irrespective of a color, nation, richness, poorness, discrimination, with a wholehearted manner from all parts of the world. We are searching, we are knowing great philosophers, poets, great people who contributed a lot for human happiness. We want to share great teachings of the great people to the humanity. We have decided and we are continuing with your cooperation, with your cooperation means participants. So here Amareswar also playing vital role and we are doing something. So here, according to Michel de Montaigne, so happiness involves working towards meaningful goals. So we are going to reach meaningful goals. Means we are giving something great, something good to humanity. That is our goal. So if you give some goodness to the humanity or the world, you may get goodness directly or indirectly now or in the future. So here, every action has equal and opposite reaction. If you do something for world or a nature or a humanity for any person, you may get that any time in the life or the future life anytime. That's why so always move with a meaningful goals. So here you have to follow very carefully about human existence, how to live. So he is telling the most certain sign of wisdom is cheerfulness. So when you are cheerful, happy, that means you have a wisdom. When you are unhappy, sorrowful, destructive, distressed, that means you are not happy. The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself. He is also telling knowing oneself is the greatest wisdom. So the greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself. So here you have a body, that is your house, that is your vehicle. Who are you? You are a soul. What is your characteristics? Awareness. So what is your relationship? What is the relationship of yourself and the body? The body has come from the nature and the soul has come from the cosmic consciousness. They have combined here. They may live sometime, they may disappear sometime. So here, if you know about yourself, so means the soul has no birth and death. It is a traveling in the universe. It has a extraordinary wisdom and intuition. If you trust your soul, if you watch your inner voice, automatically it may give the slow hints to you to how to live. If you find any unpleasant thing in the life, if you ask any solution silently to your inner soul, it may give hints to you. Follow your inner soul, live with the inner soul, then your life will be very happy. He's telling poverty of goods is easy cured, but poverty of soul is impossible. If you have no understanding about your inner soul, then you won't get any help from soul relating with the wisdom and intuition. In the crisis of your life, only the source is your inner soul. The inner soul has a great experience of universe. It has experienced many things in the past lives. That's why it may give good suggestions to you to avoid all unpleasant things in the life. So here he said about the stupidness. Stubborn and ardent clinging to one's opinions is the best proof of stupidity. So you should be very flexible. If you find the rightness in our opinion, change your opinion. Don't cling with a rigid manner, ardent manner, cruel manner. If you are continuing with a stubborn manner, means you are a stupid person. What do you mean by stupidity? You have no discrimination. What is right and what is wrong? You are not seeing actual truth. What are the consequences of your decision? So here Montaigne telling ultimately the bond of all companionship, whether in a marriage or in a friendship, is a conversation. So in the all relationships, we have a conversation. If you have a skill of conversation, if you talk with a pleasantly, happily, with appreciating manner, without hurting, without blaming, that conversation will become very pleasant in the relation. If you start criticizing, if you start abusing, if you start expecting, if you start underestimating other person, if you use any type of language, that won't give anything. So if you talk very happily, pleasantly, right manner with all your relations people, automatically you may enjoy life. If you talk very brutally, cruelly, unpleasantly, hurting manner, automatically you may experience sorrow and misery in the world. That's why word is the most important thing. Conversation is a vital force in the happiness of the human being. If you scrutinize your words, if you use only pleasant words in our conversation, automatically you may enjoy. So he's telling about the learning. Experience is the most important than book learning and memorizing. So you may memorize information, you may get information, but experience is the most important. Observation is the most important. He's telling truth and reason are common. So here he's telling truth means what is seeing exactly what it is without any illusion and hallucination. Clear perception is the truth. So if you see truth relating with life and everything, you may get relief. So he's telling about the reason. So reason plays vital role in the life. So here in the positive, negative, inductive, deductive, questioning, clarity, valid reasoning. So valid reasoning creates great understanding. Valid reasoning creates a capacity to solve many things. So the capacity of reason to see truth, these are common for all human beings. These capacities are there in the every human being. They have to use to know truth through their observation. They have to use their mental faculty to reason, to question, to investigate, to see what is true and false. If they follow this, they may live very happily. So here in the philosophy of Michel de Montaigne, he is telling, so you have to listen your soul, you have to know about yourself. You are responsible for happiness and unhappiness. You have a bad ways and good ways in the life. Watch your life very carefully. How much time you have lived in the world is not important. How you have lived, how pleasantly you have utilized your days for happiness of your life. So the happiness of life or unhappiness of life depend upon your decision, your discrimination, your awareness. So if you follow the quality of awareness, you may get more happiness, you may do something good for humanity. I concluded this speech, Amresh sir.
Extraordinary keynote address, sir. Very nice. I am requesting our noble participant to interact with Professor Chennai, sir. Over to the participants. Pawan, sir. Okay, I can initiate, sir. Sir, by reading the philosophical aspects of Michel de Montaigne, so he is maybe inspiration for a French Revolution also, like that. Is it
So
true,
here,
sir?
no, is French Revolution. This is a 1700 period. So here, French Revolution, Napoleon Bonaparte. This is
His inspiration, sir. His
17th
writings.
century. So is in the period of Krishna Devaraya. So it is a period of Vijayanagara period in Andhra Pradesh. So he born in 1533 and he
Yes, sir.
died in 1592. So that is a Vijayanagara period. So here the French Revolution, these are in the 17 and 1800 period. 1700 period, that is a French Revolution. 16th Louis, Napoleon Bonaparte, freedom, liberty, equality, that is relating with the French Revolution. So they have, so the French Revolution, that 16th Louis, the king of France, so administered differently. He has created many problems. So the people revolted. They have created one mission called guillotine. So they have used that guillotine mission to punish people. So thereafter Napoleon Bonaparte, so they have the French Revolution, freedom, equality, liberty, freedom. So that is a 1700 and period. It is a very ancient, Amreshwar. He is a very ancient, means he is a 15 and 16th century, but he has wonderful ideas psychologically. So freedom is essential, understanding is essential. We have to live very carefully. Yeah, so your freedom is a result of your action. Be careful. We find great insights in the Michel Montaigne also. Amresh sir.
Okay, sir. French Renaissance, maybe. Okay, maybe a French rebirth, French Revolution. Okay, okay.
Because that is a later part. After 200 years of Michel Montaigne, all Renaissance and the French Revolution, all things come from after 150 or 200 years of period over of Michel Montaigne, Amritsar. So he is a
But
very he's a medieval period person, Amritsar. He's a medieval
but
person.
his writings maybe inspired the people, sir.
Yes. So he has given great inspiration for humanity. So during the period of French Kingdom, he experienced terrible things: poverty, unemployment, destruction, insults, fears, all experiences. But he's telling with his own realization. So you are responsible. Don't blame anybody. You have two routes in the world, one good route and another bad route. If you go with without the guidance of your inner soul, with the force of somebody, with the desires of somebody, without having any authentic understanding about your inner will, you are responsible for your suffering. So if you need more willpower, you have to understand your soul. Be courageous, be confident, be honesty. Live with simple manner. Always live with your willpower, soul. So, on the basis of his life's experiences, he said these are also very useful for French Revolution, other revolutions. So, he is also very wonderful person to give a right way of living for humanity, Amresa.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful, sir. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Avan, sir. Yes, yes.
Oh, Avan Kumar.
Sir, Michel D. Montaigne, what are the contributions of new things, sir? Articles and things. What is the Michel D. Montaigne? What is the contribution of new articles and new isms of philosophies?
So no articles, no isms. So these are not applicable for Michel de Montaigne. He is a different type of person. So he is telling, relating with articles and isms. So these are meant for believing. So he said about the truth and belief. So at present, people are not seeing. So here, believing. So if you accept any ism means that is a belief. That is not your own experience. So here, Michel de Montaigne refused to follow isms, beliefs, other things, because if you follow beliefs, isms, other things without verification, without any self-knowledge, they may harm you. They may lead you to destruction. That's why self-inquiry is the most important. You have to inquire about your life. Your life is the most important. Don't bother about the life of other people. You, without verification of the teachings of other people, don't accept anything. Question everything. Don't believe anything. You have to follow two important weapons for your life. One is the truth, another is the reason. Truth means seeing with a direct manner, with your eyes, with a direct perception. If you see anything clearly, you accept it. He has used another instrument called reason. So you have to question. So you have to verify. You have to discuss. You have to see positive and negative consequences. So then you may live. So here, he contributed for the world with the independent approach of seeing truth, using reason, to avoid all evils of the isms, all evils of beliefs. Amresh, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Pavan Kumar.
Avan, sir.
Okay. Any other person?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm requesting. Pawan sir, are you there? Yeah. Srinivasal Reddy Anna.
Is the line in the Srinivasal Reddy garu is in the line?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gurupadam. Gurupadam.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Being a research, yeah, good evening. Being a research scholar, you can.
Sir, I have a small doubt regarding journals, sir. Predatory journals, sir. Sir, here due to technical issues, I'm unable to speak something, sir.
You ask question. So here, Amresh sir.
Sir.
So he said about the journals and something, he expressed some sentence. But here, the Michel de Montaigne, he lived more than 450 years back. He said about research outlook also. You have to do your research on the basis of your experience. You may collect many aspects from books. You may memorize, but it won't give any effect on your life. If you have experienced anything relating with your research or anything, it may be a good. So this type of content we find in the Montaigne, Amresh sir.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful answer. Jhansi Rani, madam. Dr. Pooja.
Yes, sir.
Jagadishwari, madam. Yes. Please, you can ask if you have any
Jhansi
query, ma'am.
Rani,
Yes, sir.
welcome. Ask something. You are from which place, Jhansi Rani?
I'm from Chennai, sir. Chennai.
Welcome. What are you, Jhansi Rani?
Sorry?
What are you? What are you doing?
I'm working as assistant professor.
Welcome. Ask some questions.
I have some internet problem. I could not listen properly, sir. So internet
Yes,
is not...
your voice is very clear. Ask.
So far, I don't have any query, sir.
So here you said one statement, I don't have any queries. So he said the Michel de Montaigne also said. So if you have a tranquil mind, innocent mind, a mind without any questions, a mind without any disturbances, a tranquil mind, that is the source for happiness. So if you have no any questions, truly, that means you are in the state of happiness and tranquility. So almost we are accumulating various types of experiences. The experiences are the sources for all thoughts. The all thoughts are the sources for feelings. The all feelings are sources for action. That's why we are getting many thoughts with uninterrupted manner. So not having any question means that is a tranquil state. So tranquil state is a happy state according to Michel de Montaigne. Okay, very nice. If you have any sentence or any question, or if you try, you are an assistant professor. So any department, say one sentence or one question. We may share something on the basis of your question. So questioning is an ability. Questioning is a great source for human survival.
Anyone else?
Hello, sir. Chinay, sir.
Yes, yes.
Michael D. Montaigne software. So many books write about, so many books and articles, articles and contributions. But what is the what is skepticism and physiognomism? That is books and articles.
So
write
you
about.
Unstable.
see, yesterday I said, you have to ask, you have to connect every question with the subject. So here, Michel de Montaigne, I have given keynote address relating with. You have to connect your any problem to the Michel de Montaigne. So if you ask separate things, I may answer, but I won't advise that type of questions. You connect any, because previously you asked one question directly, that is a good. So we have to ask questions with a contextual wise. So then it may be very beautiful. So you ask question directly to the philosopher. So as Jansi Ram asked,
What technique written the books of how many books and articles? That is not way. Skepticism.
Jansi Rani, do you have any questions?
Skepticism and physiognomism.
I told you my net is unstable, so whatever I have heard it is clear. So in future I can ask many questions.
Okay, very good, very good, very good. Pawan Kumar, what is your question?
What technique? Skepticism and
We don't find any skepticism in Michael D. So here, skepticism means a doubt. When there is a belief, when there is a ambiguity, when there is no certainty, when there is no connectivity, then you will find doubt. When you are seeing directly to any object, because you have a pen in your hand, you are seeing your pen, there is no doubt relating with the existence of pen in your hand. So if you think about gold elephant, so in the forest, that may be a doubtful one. That's why here he has not given any importance, but he said, don't believe anything. That is called skepticism. We find the principles of skepticism also in the Michael philosophy. So see clearly, don't believe. Don't stay completely in the doubt manner. So the state of doubt is an uncertainty, that is a lack of clarity. See clearly, understand anything on the basis of perception and reason. Amresh sir. Amresh sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, I think
You will ask one question, then you will move, Amresh sir.
okay, sir. So directly, what type of life lessons regarding research to our participant from Michael D?
So here the research is not an isolated one. The education is not an isolated one. Every aspect is relating with our life, our happiness. So he is telling lessons to humanity is you have to use constantly the instruments of truth and reason. So you have to decide anything on the basis of clear perception, truth. So here in the truth, you don't find any illusion and hallucination. Illusion means mistaking one thing for another. Hallucination means mistaking nothing for another. So here, clear, exact perception. So reasoning. So here, his instrument is very useful for research scholars. So he said about the reason. So here the inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, coming from particular to general, general to particular, taking one aspect and concluding and reasoning, evaluating, judging, interfering, all the things will come, the quality of the ability of reason. That is also most important you have to develop. Another he is telling, in the life, you have to know about yourself. Who are you? You are a body or a mind or a soul. You have to observe your inner voice. Take guidance your inner voice. So here in the life, every moment you have to live with a moment to moment. Don't more concentrate on your past experiences and future dreamings. Experience the present life. How much time you have lived is important, but how you have lived, how enjoyable you have lived. So he's telling the present is the most enjoyable thing. As a research scholar, if he has a lovable feeling on the research, if he has a lovable topic relating with the research, if he concentrates on the research, he entered very deeply, he may enjoy in the research. He may write a thesis wonderful manner. He may use that information in the future excellent manner. So here, lovable feeling is the most important. According to Michel de Montaigne, you have to do anything on the basis of love, willpower, enjoyment, great commitment. So he is telling happiness involves to going towards a meaningful goals. So in the research, you have to prepare a thesis. For that, you have to concentrate very carefully with a lovable manner. So here, living at present, another important thing, you have a good thoughts and bad thoughts. All human beings are suffering on the basis of bad thoughts. So they are not discriminating, they are not avoiding. So they are allowing for action. That's why they are facing suffering and unpleasant thing in the relations and the job in the world. Here, Michel de Montaigne, having a good thought is a pleasant, happy thing in the life. You search in the world. You know many good thoughts which are available in the world. You go very deeply in the research and such manner in the world. We find great philosophers, poets in the world. Don't cling with any nationality, any separatism or any outlook. Without having any bias, with a lovable manner, learn great things from great persons of the world. Collect great thoughts which are very useful, which are very helpful, which are very pleasant. Utilize the great thoughts for your life, then your life will be very beautiful. So these are some of the life lessons I have given relating with Michel de Montaigne. Amresh sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Amresh.
Wonderful, wonderful answer. With your permission, may I go for presentation, sir?
Okay. Okay. Please move, Amresh sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening to Professor Chennai, sir, and noble participants. Actually, it is a French word. The pronunciation may be a different. Just I searched before starting the program how to pronounce this. Michel D. We can Montaigne. It is a pronunciation. Something is different, but as per our English, we are pronouncing philosophical foundations of research and life lessons from Michel de Montaigne. The outline of the presentation, introduction, learning outcome, and conclusion. Before going to actual topic, as usual, we'd like to share two motivational videos. One from You Will Know the True Purpose of Life, the Zen philosophy, and another one, a Buddhist story. These things are very, very important. The main motto to show all these motivational videos to motivate our participants to develop their personality, their professional skills, and research skills.
In In the mountains of the East, there was a wise old man who lived a life of solitude. He was known to the locals as the sage, for he possessed a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that he was happy to share with anyone who sought his guidance. One day, a young traveler came to see the sage, seeking answers to the age-old question, what is the true purpose of life? The sage listened intently to the traveler's thoughts and questions, and then he began to tell them a story. There was once a great king who ruled over a vast kingdom. The king had everything that a man could desire: wealth, power, and a beautiful queen who loved him deeply. Yet despite all of this, the king was not happy. He felt that something was missing from his life, and he could not find peace within himself. The king decided to set out on a journey to find the purpose of his life. He traveled far and wide, seeking out the wisdom of sages, holy men, and scholars. He asked them all the same question: what is the true purpose of life? But no matter where he went, he could not find a satisfactory answer. After many years of wandering, the king finally came upon a simple village in the mountains. There he met a poor peasant who seemed to radiate a sense of contentment and peace. The king approached the peasant and asked him the same question he had asked so many others: what is the true purpose of life? The peasant smiled at the king and replied, the purpose of life, my friend, is to live it. The king was taken aback by the peasant's answer. But what does that mean? He asked. The peasant replied, it means that life is not a puzzle to be solved, nor a game to be won. Life is a gift to be cherished, a journey to be experienced, and an opportunity to be embraced. The king was struck by the simplicity and truth of the peasant's words. He realized that he had been searching for the purpose of his life in all the wrong places. He had been seeking happiness and wealth, power and fame, when all along it had been right there within him, waiting to be discovered. The king returned to his kingdom with a newfound sense of purpose and contentment. He devoted his life to serving his people, and he lived the rest of his days in peace and happiness. And so, my friend, the true purpose of life is not to seek out some elusive answer, but to simply live it to the fullest, embracing all the joys and challenges that come with it. The traveler sat in silence for a moment, pondering the sage's words. Then he asked, but how do I live my life to the fullest? The sage smiled and replied, by following your heart, staying true to your values, and embracing the present moment. Life is a journey, and the true purpose of that journey is not the destination, but the experiences and lessons we gain along the way. The traveler thanked the sage for his wisdom and took his leave, feeling grateful for the insight he had gained. And as he journeyed on, he remembered the words of the sage, and he lived his life with a newfound sense of purpose and contentment, knowing that the true purpose of life was not to find answers, but to simply live it with joy and in gratitude. Life is a journey full of wonder, joy, and challenges. Along the way, we may be tempted to seek out a grand purpose or a higher meaning to our existence, but the truth is that life itself is its own purpose. Every experience, every joy and every sorrow, every triumph and every setback contributes to the tapestry of our lives and shapes us into the people we are meant to be. At times, we may feel lost or uncertain, and we may question the path we have chosen. But we must remember that life is not about finding the right path, but about creating our own path, one step at a time, with courage, conviction, and faith in ourselves. The purpose of life, then, is not something that can be found or discovered, but something that must be created and nurtured within ourselves. It is the deep-seated desire to live fully and authentically, to explore the depths of our being, and to make a positive impact on the world around us. In the end, it is not the achievements or accolades that define our lives, but the love we give and the relationships we build. It is the moments of connection and compassion, the acts of kindness and generosity that truly make life worth living. So let us embrace the journey of life, with all its joys and challenges, and let us live each moment with purpose, intention, and gratitude. For in doing so, we may find that the true purpose of life is simply to be, and to experience the beauty and wonder of existence in all its infinite variety.
What a wonderful reply. So discover your true worth. This one also with research scholars, teachers, we are always trying to invent something, to find out something. So discover your true worth. Maximum research scholars, even though they have more capabilities, but they're unable to identify, can I do this one? Like, so there are some stories are also available in a literature, every literature, whether English, Hindi, or other regional languages also. Please go through it. This is very nice video. After that, we can go through our original topic.
Once upon a time, there was a Zen master who lived in a small village in Papua New Guinea. He was a wise and kind man, and he was always willing to help others. One day, a group of villagers came to him with a problem. They had found a treasure trove of gold and diamonds in a cave, but they didn't know what to do with it. They were afraid that if they kept it, someone would steal it from them. They were also afraid that if they gave it away, they would be poor again. The Zen master listened to their problem, and then he said, "The treasure is not yours. It belongs to the earth. You should return it to where you found it." The villagers were surprised. They had thought that the Zen master would tell them to keep the treasure or to give it away. But the Zen master knew that the treasure was not worth anything if it caused the villagers to worry or to be afraid. The villagers returned to the cave and put the treasure back where they had found it. They were relieved to be rid of it, and they were happy to know that it was safe. The Zen master continued to live in the village, and he continued to help others. He taught them that true worth is not found in material possessions. True worth is found in kindness, compassion, and wisdom. One day, a stranger came to the village. He was a wealthy man, and he was looking for the treasure that the villagers had found. He offered them a lot of money for it, but they refused. They told him that the treasure was not for sale. The stranger was angry. He thought that the villagers were greedy. He tried to steal the treasure, but he was unsuccessful. The villagers were able to protect the treasure, and they were able to live in peace. The Zen master was proud of the villagers. He knew that they had found true worth. They were not interested in material possessions. They were interested in helping others and in living a peaceful life. The stranger eventually gave up and left the village. The villagers never saw him again, but they never forgot the lesson that he had taught them. True worth is not found in material possessions. True worth is found in kindness, compassion, and wisdom. The Zen master continued to live in the village for many years. He continued to help others, and he continued to teach them about true worth. He died peacefully in his sleep at the age of 100. The villagers were sad to see him go, but they knew that he would always be with them in spirit. The Zen master's story is a reminder that true worth is not found in material possessions. True worth is found in kindness, compassion, and wisdom. If we focus on these things, we will find true happiness and fulfillment in life. Here are a few tips on how to find your true worth from a Zen master's perspective. Meditate. Meditation is a great way to quiet the mind and connect with your inner self. When you meditate, you can begin to see your true worth beyond the labels and expectations of others. Be present. The past is gone and the future is not yet here. The only thing that is real is the present moment. When you focus on the present moment, you can appreciate the beauty of life and all that it has to offer. Let go of expectations. When you let go of expectations, you can live a more carefree and fulfilling life. Don't worry about what others think of you or what you should or shouldn't be doing. Just be yourself and let your true worth shine through. Help others. One of the best ways to find your true worth is to help others. When you help others, you are not only making a difference in their lives, but you are also making a difference in your own. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself, even when you make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It's how you learn and grow. Forgive yourself and move on. True worth is not something that is given to you by others. It is something that you discover within yourself. By following these tips, you can begin to uncover your true worth and live a more fulfilling life. Here are some additional tips that may be helpful. Take some time for self-reflection. Think about what you are good at, what you enjoy doing, and what makes you happy. What are your values? What are your goals? Talk to someone you trust. A friend, family member, therapist, or spiritual advisor can offer support and guidance as you explore your true worth. Don't be afraid to take risks. Stepping outside of your comfort zone can help you to grow and learn more about yourself. Celebrate your successes. No matter how small, take the time to acknowledge your accomplishments. This will help you to build self-confidence and self-worth. Finding your true worth is a journey, not a destination. It takes time, effort, and self-awareness. But it is a journey that is well worth taking.
Very wonderful video. It is very useful for our research scholars, teachers, and policymakers, administrators. The learning outcome of the present session, learning great life lessons and philosophical foundations of research from Michel de Montaigne. Born already Professor Chennai sir said 28 February 1533 and died 13th September 1592, a French philosopher. The biography is a very wonderful video. The video gives a million meanings instead of sharing words or text. It is better. Always learn through videos and learning by doing.
We generally think that philosophers should be proud of their big brains and be fans of thinking, self-reflection and rational analysis. But there's one philosopher born in France in 1533 who had a refreshingly different take. Michel de Montaigne was an intellectual who spent his writing life knocking the arrogance of intellectuals. In his great masterpiece, The Essays, he comes across as relentlessly wise and intelligent, but also as constantly modest and keen to debunk the pretensions of learning. Not least, he's extremely funny, reminding his readers, "To learn that we have said or done a stupid thing is nothing. We must learn a more ample and important lesson, that we are but blockheads." Or, as he put it, "On the highest throne in the world, we are seated still upon our asses." Montaigne was a child of the Renaissance, and the ancient philosophers popular in Montaigne's day believed that our powers of reason could afford us a happiness and greatness denied to other creatures. Reason was a sophisticated, almost divine tool offering us mastery over the world and ourselves. That was the line taken by philosophers like Cicero. But this characterization of human reason enraged Montaigne. After hanging out with academics and philosophers, he wrote, "In practice, thousands of little women in their villages have lived more gentle, more equable, and more constant lives than Cicero." His point wasn't that human beings can't reason at all, simply that they tend to be far too arrogant about the limits of their brains. As he wrote, "Our life consists partly in madness, partly in wisdom. Whoever writes about it merely respectfully and by rule leaves more than half of it behind." Perhaps the most obvious example of our madness is the struggle of living within a human body. Our bodies smell, ache, sag, pulse, throb, and age, whatever the desires of our minds. Montaigne was the world's first and possibly only philosopher to talk at length about impotence, which seemed to him a prime example of how crazy and fragile our minds are. Montaigne had a friend who'd grown impotent with a woman he particularly liked. Montaigne didn't blame the penis. The problem was the mind, the oppressive notion that we had complete control over our bodies, and the horror of departing from this theoretical normality. The solution, Montaigne said, was to redraw our sense of what's normal. By accepting a loss of command over the penis as a harmless, common possibility in lovemaking, one could preempt its occurrence, as the stricken man eventually discovered. In bed with a woman, he learned to admit beforehand that he was subject to this infirmity and spoke openly about it, so relieving the tensions within his soul. By bearing the malady as something to be expected, his sense of constriction grew less and weighed less heavily upon him. Montaigne's frankness allows the tensions in the reader's own soul to be relieved. A man who failed with his girlfriend could regain his forces and soothe the anxieties of his beloved by accepting that his impotence belonged to a broad realm of sexual mishaps, neither very rare nor very peculiar. Montaigne was equally frank about the limitations of his intellect and of its usefulness. Academia was deeply prestigious in Montaigne's day, as in our own. Yet although Montaigne was an excellent scholar, he hated pedantry in academia. He only wanted to learn things that were useful and relentlessly attacked academics for being out of touch. If man were wise, he would gauge the true worth of anything by its usefulness and appropriateness to his life, he said. Only that which makes us feel better may be worth understanding. In this vein, Montaigne mocked books that were difficult to read. He admitted to his readers that he found Plato more than a little boring, and that he just wanted to have fun with books. I'm not prepared to bash my brains out for anything, not even for learning's sake, however precious it may be. From books, all I seek is to get myself some pleasure by an honourable pastime. If I come across some difficult passages in my reading, I don't bite my nails over them. After making a charge or two, I let them be. If one book tires me, I just take up another. He could be pretty caustic about incomprehensible philosophers. Difficulty is a coin which the learned conjure with, so as not to reveal the vanity of their studies, and which human stupidity is keen to accept in payment. Montaigne observed how an intimidating scholarly culture has made all of us study other people's books way before we study our own minds, and yet, as he put it, we are richer than we think, each one of us. Montaigne is refreshing because he describes a life which is recognizably like our own, and yet inspiring still. He is a very human ideal. We may all arrive at wise ideas if we cease to think of ourselves as unsuited to the task, just because we aren't 2,000 years old or aren't interested in the topics of Plato's dialogues or have a so-called ordinary life. Montaigne reassures us. You can attach the whole of moral philosophy to a commonplace private life, just as well as to one with richer stuff. In Montaigne's redrawn portrait of the adequate, semi-rational human being, it's possible to speak no Greek, change one's mind after a meal, get bored with a book, be impotent, and know pretty much none of the ancient philosophers. A virtuous, ordinary life, striving for wisdom, but never far from folly, is achievement enough. Montaigne remains the great readable intellectual with whom we can laugh at intellectuals and pretensions of many kinds. He was a breath of fresh air in the cloistered, unworldly, snobbish corridors of the academia of the 16th century. And because academia has sadly not changed very much, he continues to be an inspiration and a solace to all of us who feel routinely oppressed and patronized by the pedantry and arrogance of so-called clever people.
Right. The philosophy of Montaigne, the n number of things Professor Chennai sir already mentioned so many things. Here we are going to learn from a philosophical perspective, self-knowing. Professor Chennai sir already mentioned self-awareness, self-knowing, self-knowledge.
What we find in the philosophy of Michel de Montaigne is a profound prose, refreshingly original and adorned with an artful discursiveness far removed from that speculative tempest which seethed throughout the medieval age. Here is no blind following devoid of personal judgment, but instead, as said best by Stefan Zweig, was a philosophy that will teach us how to stay free, how to preserve our inborn clear-mindedness in front of all the threats and dangers of fanaticism, and how to preserve the humanity of our hearts among the upsurge of bestiality. Pursuing knowledge by way of personal experience instead of unsubstantiated speculation, Montaigne claimed to expound upon only one subject, this being himself. He went about this scrupulous self-examination by exposing his own judgments in order to better understand not only their strengths, but also their weaknesses. He sought to influence the use of critical judgment and detested the common practice of labeling mere popular opinion as absolute truth. Because how many things we held yesterday as articles of faith, which today we tell as fables? Instead of making these baseless claims, we should seek to gauge their strength. Throughout his essays, the echoes of Hellenistic philosophy, most notably Stoicism, skepticism, and Epicureanism, can be frequently heard in alternating intensities. Along with his views on Christianity and education, this video will seek to explore how these various schools of thought influenced his philosophy. Montaigne's educational ideal. Montaigne believed that education should be no vain attempt to mold one's mind to establish beliefs, but rather the sharpening of one's own judgment and conduct. Instead of strict, uncompromising book learning, children should be exposed to physical and playful activities. This, he thought, would allow for conformity to social and political customs while avoiding that eager subservience characteristic of those involved in that unholy inquisition. In regards to the study of philosophy, he thought that it should not be done with ostentation, as it could lead to unorthodox tendencies and an uncongenial personality. Believing philosophy to be the practice of free judgment, Montaigne urges his readers to adopt a thought process that would encourage the use of free inquiry. Without this, we are inevitably limited by what is taught to us during those credulous years of our youth. Montaigne reminds us that our ignorance, if realized, becomes philosophy. Montaigne's Stoic Ideal. Early in his philosophic voyage, Montaigne was in search of any school of thought that would uphold his moral and ethical ideals. And with Christianity busy waging war with itself and burning those treasonous heretics at the stake, he would, for a time, look at the world through that Stoic lens and strive to abstain from all passions that would disturb the decency of his conduct or the tranquility of his mind. He so venerated Seneca that he would credit him along with Plutarch for whatever value his essays possessed. Contemporaries would even go as far as to refer to him as the French Seneca. Montaigne said to study philosophy is to learn to die, and there could be no greater teachers in the art of death than those great Stoics of antiquity. From his Stoic mentors, he would learn to focus only on what he could control, and the only thing he could control were his own judgments. He said in regards to this, not being able to govern events, I govern myself. Along with this self-governance, he embraced that Stoic virtue of self-doubt, which would come to complement his philosophy throughout his years. In his essays, he offered us this in consolation. If a man cannot attain to that noble Stoic impassibility, let him hide in the lap of this peasant insensitivity of mine. What Stoics did from virtue, I teach myself from temperance. Montaigne's Epicurean transition. Alas, his scintillating spirit would prove irreconcilable with the life of the Stoic sage. He decided instead to follow his own natural desires, this, of course, as long as no harm was done to those around him. It delighted him to find in that fluent eloquence of Lucretius a philosophy akin to his nature. Following this discovery, he would don the cloak of an Epicurean and claim pleasure as no mere vice, but instead as a legitimate virtue to be enjoyed as long as one goes about seeking it with temperance and moderation. Intemperance is the pestilence which killeth pleasure. Temperance is not the flail of pleasure, it is the seasoning thereof. Montaigne's Skeptic Transformation. With Christianity continuing on with its descent into depravity, Montaigne would come to adopt the skepticism which would from there on enrich his philosophy into that which many remember him by. He would, nearly 100 years before Pascal and 200 before Kant, ask that contentious question, why should we trust reason? His stance on reason, like that of Locke, is based upon the foundation that all knowledge comes from the senses. And because our senses are so often deceptive, reason is therefore unreliable. This precariousness of reason was not Montaigne's only path to skepticism. By way of contemplation about the vastness of beliefs present in the world, he reminds us that the difference between individuals is at times more than that between beast and man. Thus, we should avoid limiting our minds to that small corner of the earth that we call home. He avoided absolutes in anything, but took as truth what appeared so to him. He said, I fasten myself on that which I see and hold, and go not far from the shore. Taking his stance with the likes of Socrates, he claimed as his motto the phrase, what do I know? His skeptic ideal would differ from that of Pyrrho by offering his readers the simple pleasure of dismissing knowledge and exercising their own natural judgment. Montaigne and religion. To understand Montaigne's religious views, I think we should first understand his stance on government. He thought that changing forms of government or attempting to overthrow popular custom would inevitably cause more chaos than it would order. Thus, a wise philosophy should make its peace with religion. Montaigne himself maintained a vague belief in a God throughout his life. He notes that he is a Christian only by geographical accident and claimed if born elsewhere, I should have rather taken part of those who worship the sun. He would reject atheism and agnosticism, categorizing them as unnatural. And even though he often criticized the contemporary Christianity of France, he was, as said by Will Durant, too much of a gentleman to set his neighbor's house on fire before he had any other shelter to give him. Montaigne through posterity. On September 13, 1592, at the age of 59, Montaigne's life would reach its end. But his influence would carry on throughout the ages as perhaps the modern world's first example of a tolerant mind. His philosophy would prove to be the antecedent of that great age of reason, and from his ashes would arise many of history's most influential philosophers. Of these, Bayle, Bacon, Diderot, Descartes, Rousseau, and even the great Voltaire would feel his influence. Why are we drawn into his philosophy? Well, perhaps because we can relate to it. His faults are laid out with surprising honesty, and his informal style stands out among the formal dogmatism of contemporary minds. He teaches us that while seeking to further our own knowledge, we should not get caught up in those metaphysical unobtainables, but should instead focus on what is within our reach, this being ourselves. He made up his own mind and lived his life exactly how he had planned it. He said, "I study myself more than any other subject. That is my metaphysics. That is my physics." Since his death, his style may have been copied, but never has it been matched. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more on Eastern and Western,
Very nice video. We can understand this one, self-study, reasoning. These are all very important for research scholars and researchers. There are a number of nice quotes from Montaigne.
The most certain sign of wisdom is cheerfulness. On the highest throne in the world, we still sit only on our own bottom. The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself. I do not care so much what I am to others as I care what I am to myself. I quote others only in order the better to express myself. When I am attacked by gloomy thoughts, nothing helps me so much as running to my books. They quickly absorb me and banish the clouds from my mind. He who fears he shall suffer, already suffers what he fears. If I speak of myself in different ways, that is because I look at myself in different ways. If you press me to say why I loved him, I can say no more than because he was he and I was I. Learned we may be with another man's learning. We can only be wise with wisdom of our own. Nothing fixes a thing so intensely in the memory as the wish to forget it. I am afraid that our eyes are bigger than our stomachs and that we have more curiosity than understanding. We grasp at everything, but catch nothing except wind. There is nothing more notable in Socrates than that he found time, when he was an old man, to learn music and dancing, and thought it time well spent. Man is certainly stark mad. He cannot make a worm, and yet he will be making gods by dozens. Nothing is so firmly believed as that which we least know. Lend yourself to others, but give yourself to yourself. If there is such a thing as a good marriage, it is because it resembles friendship rather than love. I prefer the company of peasants, because they have not been educated sufficiently to reason incorrectly. To forbid us anything is to make us have a mind for it. How many things served us yesterday for articles of faith, which today are fables for us? I find I am much prouder of the victory I obtain over myself, when, in the very ardor of dispute, I make myself submit to my adversary's force of reason, then I am pleased with the victory I obtain over him through his weakness. Obsession is the wellspring of genius and madness. Let us give nature a chance. She knows her business better than we do. Off I go, rummaging about in books for sayings which please me. Marriage may be compared to a cage. The birds outside frantic to get in, and those inside frantic to get out. I speak the truth, not so much as I would, but as much as I dare. And I dare a little more as I grow older. My art and profession is to live. The greater part of the world's troubles are due to questions of grammar. Confidence in others' honesty is no light testimony of one's own integrity. Every man has within himself the entire human condition. He who establishes his argument by noise and command shows that his reason is weak. The most fruitful and natural exercise for our minds is, in my opinion, conversation. I do not believe, from what I have been told about this people, that there is anything barbarous or savage about them, except that we all call barbarous anything that is contrary to our own habits. When I dance, I dance. When I sleep, I sleep. Yes. And when I walk alone in a beautiful orchard, if my thoughts drift to far-off matters for some part of the time for some other part, I lead them back again to the walk, the orchard, to the sweetness of this solitude, to myself. Ignorance is the softest pillow on which a man can rest his head. Marriage happens as with cages. The birds without despair to get in, and those within despair of getting out. Every movement reveals us. Not being able to govern events, I govern myself. There is no knowledge so hard to acquire as the knowledge of how to live this life well and naturally. No wind favors he who has no destined port. Kings and philosophers shit, and so do ladies. I know that the arms of friendship are long enough to reach from the one end of the world to the other. If I am pressed to say why I loved him, I feel it can only be explained by replying, because it was he. Because it was me. I have never seen a greater monster or miracle than myself. No man is exempt from saying silly things. The mischief is to say them deliberately. Why do people respect the package rather than the man? Other people do not see you at all, but guess at you by uncertain conjectures. There is as much difference between us and ourselves as there is between us and others. My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened. I want us to be doing things, prolonging life's duties as much as we can. I want death to find me planting my cabbages, neither worrying about it nor the unfinished gardening. There is no desire more natural than the desire of knowledge. It is a disaster that wisdom forbids you to be satisfied with yourself and always sends you away dissatisfied and fearful, whereas stubbornness and foolhardiness fill their hosts with joy and assurance. You need to have sex so that the woman then follows you with a mattress. We trouble our life by thoughts about death, and our death by thoughts about life. I listen with attention to the judgment of all men. But so far as I can remember, I have followed none but my own. The thing I fear most is fear. Saying is one thing, and doing is another. If ordinary people complain that I speak too much of myself, I complain that they do not even think of themselves. Life itself is neither a good nor an evil. Life is where good or evil find a place, depending on how you make it for them. I enjoy books as misers enjoy treasures, because I know I can enjoy them whenever I please.
So there are maybe some quotes are not applicable today's situation, but certain things, self-study, self-govern, self-know, and many other things we can take as a scholar, as a researcher. Some more thing from Michel de.
A man who fears suffering is already suffering from what he fears. My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened. I quote others only in order the better to express myself. The truth of these days is not that which really is, but what every man persuades another man to believe. We must learn to endure what we cannot avoid. Our life is composed, like the harmony of the world, of contrary things, also of different tones, sweet and harsh, sharp and flat, soft and loud. If a musician liked only one kind, what would he have to say? The most certain sign of wisdom is cheerfulness. The value of life lies not in the length of days, but in the use we make of them. Whether you find satisfaction in life depends not on your tale of years, but on your will. He who establishes his argument by noise and command shows that his reason is weak. The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself. There is no conversation more boring than the one where everybody agrees. Sometimes it is a good choice not to choose at all. Lying is a terrible vice. It testifies that one despises God, but fears men. Rejoice in the things that are present, all else is beyond thee. A man is not hurt so much by what happens, as by his opinion of what happens. Nothing fixes a thing so intensely in the memory as the wish to forget it. I know well what I am fleeing from, but not what I am in search of. Other people do not see you at all, but guess at you by uncertain conjectures. Honesty is a question of right and wrong, not a matter of policy. Lend yourself to others, but give yourself to yourself. Don't discuss yourself, for you are bound to lose. If you belittle yourself, you are believed. If you praise yourself, you are disbelieved. Only the fools are certain and assured. The only thing certain is nothing is certain. When I quote others, I do so in order to express my own ideas more clearly. Not being able to govern events, I govern myself. The pleasantest things in the world are pleasant thoughts, and the great art of life is to have as many of them as possible. It is good to rub and polish our brain against that of others. To compose our character is our duty, not to compose books, and to win, not battles and provinces, but order and tranquility in our conduct. Our great and glorious masterpiece is to live appropriately. All other things, ruling, hoarding, building, are only little appendages and props at most. A good marriage would be between a blind wife and a deaf husband. Marriage is like a cage. One sees the birds outside desperate to get in, and those inside equally desperate to get out. No one but yourself knows whether you are cowardly and cruel, or loyal and devout. Others do not see you. They surmise you by uncertain conjectures. They perceive not so much your nature as your art. Stubborn and ardent clinging to one's opinion is the best proof of stupidity. In 9 lifetimes, you'll never know as much about your cat as your cat knows about you. The pleasantest things in the world are pleasant thoughts, and the great art of life is to have as many of them as possible. There is no more expensive thing than a free gift. It takes strong ears indeed to hear ourselves judged frankly, and because there are few who can endure criticism without being stung by it, those who venture to criticize us perform a remarkable act of friendship. For it is a healthy love that will risk wounding or offending in order to profess her a benefit. A wise man never loses anything if he has himself. Nothing is so firmly believed as what we least know.
Right. The last one, always I like to say something. Love is the only mantra, like love myself and Dr. Srutrishni Gogoi Madam, 5 L's model of education, like love, learn, live and live. My art is to live. So many people are missing how to live. So this is very
In
nice.
1563, Michel de Montaigne experienced a kind of suffering that very few humans have or ever will. It started after his best friend, Etienne de la Boétie, tragically died from the plague. The second contributing event would follow in hearing of his father's death from a kidney stone attack in 1568. And then the third and final strike upon his psyche came shortly after. It was in getting the news of his little brother's passing away from an agonizing hemorrhage, an event caused by getting hit in the head with a tennis ball. Consequently, the idea and reality of death continued to overwhelm his thoughts, which also had their share in his struggle with severe bouts of depression. He wrote of it saying, "How can we possibly rid ourselves of the thought of death and of the idea that at every moment it is gripping us by the throat?" And so, seeing it as impossible to go on the same, he left his job for early retirement from a position in public service as a diplomat and retreated into solitude at the age of 38. But it was a personal retreat that Montaigne resolved would be a long one, escaping to spend over 10 years in his family's estate, or more specifically, in a 1,500-volume library built into a fortification tower, a place he called the Citadel. It was there that he etched into a particular shelf the purpose that would occupy the next decade of his life, a dedication to tranquility, freedom, and leisure. Now, we can see that this pursuit of Montaigne's proved to be a success, and one that still impacts society to this day. In his isolation, not only would he overcome his fear of death, but would invent a writing style that billions after him would use for themselves, what is commonly known as the essay. And as if that wasn't enough, he would also articulate in essay a profound wisdom for how to approach life itself, a wisdom that also affected his deepest passion, his love of writing, which in turn made him into one of the most famous writers without ever intending to be one. Trying not to try. In his citadel, still suffering from a melancholy induced by the thought of death, Montaigne sought to alleviate it through ancient Greek wisdom, a Hellenistic buffet that consisted of many readings from various Stoics. But specifically, it was through his reading of Pyrrho, the founder of the ancient skeptic school, that Montaigne found a special peace. It was in understanding that certainty is futile, as our perception of anything can only be incomplete, a mere pixel of understanding that is in part in making up the full picture. And so he treated his writings and ideas the same way we treat clothes. We try them on, we see how they fit, and then throw them away when they've outlived their use. Montaigne put it this way: "I find myself obliged neither to take responsibility for them, my writings, ideas, nor to keep to them. I can drop them if it suits me. I can return to my doubts and insecurity, and to my overriding form of thought, ignorance." This humble attitude toward knowledge would also be the next thing he would give a symbolic representation to in his citadel, painted on a ceiling beam with the words, "Que sais-je?" Then came the essay, a term that Montaigne coined that came from the French verb to try, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. The reason he would call it this, because it resonated with his attitude of humility toward knowledge. So to try, to be content with your own ignorance and just try. In this way, for Montaigne, trying was synonymous with writing. Trying was the original heart of the essay. And so in Montaigne's essaying, or in his trying, he was then led to an epiphany, a new discovery of purpose. He declared, "My profession, my art, is to live." This also came with the realization that his previous way of life wasn't his own. Rather, it was dictated by those who he surrounded himself with. But all of that was about to change. His new focus was now on perfecting the art of living. And so what did he do after that, right? That's a natural ask when you hear your life to living. But actually, it's sort of the wrong question. To Michel de Montaigne, the art of living meant finding joy in our trying, whatever that trying may be applied to. Or to say it another way, the art of life is a process of intuition, of uncovering, of contemplating and finding pleasure in the journey, which can all be summed up in a statement given by the entrepreneur, Alex Hormozi. He said,
"Winning the game of life is playing the game of life."
And so if you like that better, just substitute Montaigne's trying for Alex's playing, and you get the same thing. It's find a way to enjoy this life because it's the only one you'll ever get, or at least it's the only one you're guaranteed to have. And so for Montaigne, in optimizing for play in the game of life, I'm opting for Alex's term here, this naturally meant doing more of what he loved, which was writing. He wrote, "I have put all my energies into being a writer of books. My sole purpose is there, my life's calling. It is my only occupation, my only mission." Montaigne would go on to write 107 essays in total and cover a wide range of topics, from politics, virtue, and death, to education, poetry, and friendship. There was also the added subjects of horse riding, getting drunk, and dieting. But let's not forget that the secret sauce to this wide range of writings was in his non-committal attitude toward being correct. You can recall the influence of the Stoic Pyrrho. And so this humility that Montaigne learned, it freed him from the chains of perfectionism, ego, and self-doubt. And perhaps most importantly, it freed him from the fear of failure. Case in point, he didn't have a specified goal that he wished to identify himself with. He wasn't trying to be this hotshot writer that people looked up to. The dude just wrote for the pleasure of writing, of putting down thought to paper. That's simply the process he enjoyed. Now, what's more interesting about this is that he didn't even see himself as that great of a writer, and he was pretty candid about that, even to the point of self-depreciation. As Dr. Stephen Gambardella wrote of him, he admits that he writes badly, that he is careless, that his grammar is poor, that he has a poor memory, and is often incapable of expressing what he really wishes to write. He uses uncited quotations extensively to make up for when the point cannot quite be expressed by his own hand. I include this because I think it adds to the genuineness of Montaigne's approach of just doing what you love to do in order to win the game of life, as he clearly didn't think that he was that great of a writer, which was his self-professed life's calling. So I think that makes him a little bit more qualified to speak on the art of life, on the validity of finding fulfillment in doing what you sincerely love to do. Oh, and here's a happy ending.
Very nice. These are my models, myself and Dr. Srutasini Gogoi, madam. So here we can learn, take away a few things from these programs: self-study, self-know, self-govern, and logic. So many great things we can understand. So really very good. So over to Professor Chennai, sir.
Amresh, sir.
Sir, please, sir.
Congratulations for your nice presentation. So, have you prepared a flyer for international conference on yoga on this month, 21st, Amresh, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I prepared. I'm going to share after this program, sir. 21st, yes, sir. 21st June, we are going to organize 20th International Conference on the occasion of International Yoga Day. I'm going to share after this program.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
congratulations, Amresh, sir. So,
thank you, sir.
Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is giving a talk on UN General Assembly on 21st on the occasion of International Day of Yoga. So he's delivering inspiring speech from America. So we are going to share something from our country to entire world, myself and yourself and participants. We may share something about our own experiences, the importance of yoga, how to live for the world. So very good, Amresh sir. You have prepared a flyer and you have announced now also. So this may be a in advance communication for our participants. So very good, Amresh sir. All the best.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It gives me immense pleasure to express my gratitude to my own guru, keynote speaker, collaborator, teacher, philosopher, mentor, Professor P. Chennai, sir, Department of Philosophy, Sri Venkateswara University, for wonderful keynote address, deliberation and interaction with Pavan sir and others. Thank you very much, sir.
All the best, Amresh sir.
Thank you, sir. So without the sir support, it is not possible for us, myself and Dr. Srutasini Gogoi madam, to continue the N number of programs. We are grateful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Prabhasankar Sukla sir, and Registrar Professor S. Dixit sir, and Professor Raja Reddy sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sri Venkateswara University, Professor Mipun sir, ISTD Chairman, Shillong Chapter, Professor Mithali Kaur ma'am, Dr. Srutasini Gogoi madam, Workshop Coordinator, MORAN College, for their continuous support, and noble participants for your continuous learning and joining our programs, especially Pavan sir and others. Interaction according to Aristotle, questioning, so dialogue methods. The same way Lord Krishna and Arjuna, Vada, Samvada. So questioning is very, very important, even while giving answer to some of our research scholars. Professor Chennai sir mentioned questioning is very, very important. So knowing yourself, even the present topic also, self-study, self-govern, reason, so many things. These are all the characteristics of researcher, research scholar. With this, thank you very much. See you again 21st June at the rate of 20th International Workshop on the occasion of International Yoga Day. Now,
What
national
day,
anthem
sir?
immediate.
What day, Amresh sir? Wednesday or is it Wednesday?
And yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wednesday, sir.
Wednesday, 21st June.
Yes,
Huh?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Amresh sir.
But,
Okay, Amresh sir.
thank you, sir.
All the
Thank
best.
you. Thank you very much.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind, thank you. Please submit your feedback form. Those who joined through YouTube, please join Cisco Webex because it is a FDP. It is not good to share feedback form through YouTube. I'm requesting all the participants, those who joined through YouTube, you can join here to submit your feedback form. Thank you.